really pretend. Yeah, because at the time when you wanted to arrange the podcast with you, I did not have a voice. Yeah, so today, thankfully both of us are in good health.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Next time we can send hologram.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome everyone to our panel session. I've got Manminder Kaur Dhillon, or in short MK, nama glamour dia. So she's the founder of Supernewsroom.AI, and one of our best buddies, I would say, because over the years of our efforts of trying to nurture legendary brands with adoption of technology, Supernewsroom has been one of our very, very strong supporters from the time when not a lot of people understood why they needed to consider technology, to a time when I think people are just going crazy over AI, but just trying to figure out how to. So I'm really happy to have you here. And today we're going to be talking about a very, very, I would say, interesting topic. Earlier, Sylvie mentioned about the issue of contents. She was talking about rights over contents that is generated, and whether we're able to rightfully use those contents. So we're talking about how to maintain brand integrity with AI-generated content, because it's very, very, I say, when you see that the AI has generated this beautiful write-up with these sources, don't know from where, right? It's so, you're so drawn to actually use the contents, right? But when we take these contents and apply it as a branded content under our own brand, the question arises on whether, was it an ethical option that we made? And does it compromise our brand integrity, when we use those contents? So essentially that's the topic that we're looking at right now. So from your point of view, maybe I should get you to share your initial thoughts on this before we start, grilling those thoughts.
Okay, before that, maybe I can just share about a bit about myself. I'm a PR practitioner for many years, and that's why I think the topic is quite apt with what we do. So Supernewsroom is actually a platform where you can get publicity, basically reach out to news sites. So we have 800 news sites in the platform. Reach out to them with a single click, which means that your story can appear in the South. If you want to go global, Forbes. You just pay as you go, the value is attached to it. And what they have done recently is getting AI, a lot of AI incorporated. That means if you're an SME or a startup, everybody says, oh, I want publicity. I want my brand to be known. So how do they do it? So they go into Supernewsroom. First, they can generate the content using AI. Then they can translate the content to whatever language. Then the AI can help them match to the news site. So if you do not know, maybe a brand like Cyberview, they may not know which news site is relevant to them, so the AI can match it and eventually tell them, oh, this is your from the content, they will suggest 10 sites. So then they just click those news sites and content is sent and it goes directly to the publisher. So the star will get it, and if they accept to publish, the credits are deducted. So basically, we are eliminating me, PR agency. So you don't have to hire a PR agency. You can basically just get publicity. And now we are bringing in influencers, we're bringing in content creators into it to expand Supernewsroom. So that comes to maintaining brand integrity with AI-generated content, which our platform is doing. It's a green line, I would say. It's really a green line, and it's an ethical question, right? Ultimately, because some of our clients are brands like Petronas. can generate, they put Petronas, I think recently was a resizing issue, right? Petronas resizing, I think there was clever PR, who can downsize it, resize it. So the key...
Right sizing, sorry. Right sizing.
Right sizing, yes. So right sizing, and it came out beautiful. Petronas announcing right sizing, beautiful template, press release for immediate release, quote from CEO, but the CEO punya nama was salah. So not really trustworthy, but if from a PR point of view, that's my thesis to start. If it's perfect, if I'm a startup, I wouldn't know how to write a press release. I wouldn't know how to write a content. But I feel there was also another thing recently I read, because talking about white coding, we are using so much of white coding now. We built our platform recently on white coding. I actually wiped to be.
So dia macam white label, tapi coding.
So I was coding and I said, okay, I want 3 users. So I created a brand analysis app within by 23 to 4 days. So blah blah, and it beautifully is generating. But the question was, who owns the app? Is it me or is it the AI? So now how do we answer that question? Who has the, what's the word? Copyright, IP, intellectual property. Whose intellectual property is that? And I think this question is not for us to answer yet. I really think this is something that
the legal folks will
governments, it's a global thing that eventually people should say, who owns this? And I'm very afraid also. You know, we're building stuff, we're trusting that AI to build an app which I'm going to sell or monetize. Now, what's going to, they have my source code. It's actually a truly valid question. I'm part of the IP Researchers Network. It's a global network. And for the last 3+ years, conversations around who owns what is generated by AI has been going on. But if you look at it from a liability perspective, what did happen was, I think it was 1 year ago, when a company was sued by an owner of a content that was generated. In that case, somehow the original content was very, very close to what was produced by the AI engine. They went to court, and because of the similarity, the court ruled in favor of the owner of the original content. So, when it comes to the liability, the court did place some liability on the engine to ensure that the output is a produce of fragments of different sources. It cannot be exactly the same like somebody's original work. So there is some level of responsibility placed. But when it comes to coding, just like when it comes to production of visuals or text, the issue is always because to come up with the output, there is some level of personalization, customization, or work that is put by the people who prompt, right? So there is one line of thought that says that in your case, because you did the coding actually, it's like how people use Adobe to produce the graphic. You use the coding tool as a tool to produce your AI tool. So there is an opinion that the IP should belong to you. But if you draw a reference from the university research commercialization space, they do acknowledge that one IP that works with another IP can actually co-own. So whatever it is, I think you need to go back to your terms and conditions. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it demonstrates the same thing now. About there is a lot of grey line right now. So same thing when a content is generated through Supernewsroom. It comes back to the onus of the prompter who has prompted it. So it comes back to us, the user, of how we want to maintain our brand integrity.
Itulah, because an issue is what if you have one body that uses Supernewsroom that generates something and from an ethical point of view, it wouldn't be something that you would agree to, but because the generation was done with your tool, is there a way where, from an ethical point of view, where Supernewsroom puts in place the safeguards, to address this kind of people that generate things that should not be used in that case. So contohnya macam, let's say, if I am going to war, or I want to instigate racism, for example, with Supernewsroom. Imagine if since I have access to 800 over news sites, right? Global batu, if I wanted to incite hate, and I use Supernewsroom, how would that work out?
Okay, thank you. I'll go back and think. Okay, so anyway, we are the middle person. So it goes back to the publisher, whether to accept or decline. So macam Grab, when you order the food, you go to, chicken rice, you just put chicken rice and you do 10 restaurants and say, okay, I want this chicken rice shop. You select the chicken rice, and then once you send, it's still pending, and then it says, okay, order accepted, now your card is charged. So similar to that, we put publisher and user, we are just the middle part. However, what we do is, there is a very important element when they sign in, especially because when it comes to PR, people can do what you were saying. They just go to platforms like that, they can tarnish your brand. You have a disgruntled employee going there and writing, blah blah blah, lepas tu dia hantar dekat, one media or news site. So we have a prompt, a pop-up that actually says that you have to click and say, I am the authorized person to share this. So that's the only way we can put one level of safeguard. However, I know it's not foolproof. Anybody can say I'm authorized and put some fake name, right? So the only other way is, once it reaches the publisher, you have, and we are very careful about the 3R, race, royalty, and I can't remember what's the other one. Religion. Religion. Legal R. Malaysia, no, you can't go there. But of course, sexual content, rape, gambling, all of this is written things that you can't share. But ultimately,
Tapi from an IP point of view, in this case, just agree with you're relying on the honesty of the person, right?
true.
So what if that person doesn't have right, and then he cheat, because for them it's like, I want to get this out, and I don't care. How does this work out? Because I think, of course, at the end of the day, in your case, publishers are still responsible over whatever that comes to them. They have to decide, they have to do their due diligence and all that, right? But the new Supernewsroom has some linkage to social media, right?
No.
It isn't, right?
We do not auto-post.
Okay,
We cannot do auto-post because of that fact. And we can't because we can't monetize.
Okay.
So how are we going to monetize is good on. And we are often using third party like social or content creators, podcasters, news sites. So we monetize with that.
I don't know, like just from the conversation here in the last 10 minutes or so, is it 10 minutes or like that? What came to my mind was what happened a few years ago when, if you remember, Facebook got into a bit of an issue. Actually, it was a big issue with their government because they were using data for certain usage that is. Yes, Cambridge Analytica. So that came to my mind. What's your view about that?
Tough question. No, I think for platforms like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, unfortunately cartel lah kan, because Facebook or Meta owns all, WhatsApp, okay. They should be much more proactive in safeguarding our privacy, info, safeguarding a lot of information, but they're not. You can still see fake news going around, which is really funny, because you're talking about these are giants, right? And we tiny mini companies like that also can, depend on AI to do fact checking. And these are giants who know how to do all this, but they're not.
Yeah.
So I believe there's something, some conspiracy theory on why giants such as Meta and TikTok, YouTube, or say YouTube is again under the same cartel, right? Where they still allow things to be sent out. So it ultimately comes back to that. So that's why Mark Zuckerberg got questioned. So at the end, they just deny. And that's it.
I think
it makes more money for them. Simple as that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Because the
They
fake
don't
news
care.
drives engagement.
I guess I am trying to home into when we talk about brand identity, platform responsibility that platform takes, because for years, we've been in the business for coming to 14 years. Most of the technologies that sets up their tech as a platform for demand and supply to use, right? They tend to go, I'm not responsible, it's like they have a platform, demand and supply is supposed to, kind of like make sure that what you're offering and what you're taking is something that is right, ethical and all that. So what would your advice be to technopreneurs when it comes to their approach to that? Because I think the narrative is something that is really important for them to take care of. Because when they do that, it just seems like, you don't want to take any responsibility over the matching that you're doing for me, Like, what would your advice be to technopreneurs in that
Okay, so
space?
I will put two sides of this. Firstly, building the platform. Okay, so we come from a traditional PR agency. People come to us, and look, the part we say narrative. So people come to us, brands come to us, and then they say, hey, MK, I want to tell my story. I want to, get publicity. So I'm there, human, and I used to go through the entire process. I talk to you, I understand your company, then I sit down for 6-7 hours and create a press release and send it back to you, and then you take maybe 3 to 4 days to revise, and then another. Okay, so the whole process of creating one story, one content, used to take almost a week. Sometimes we used to work in Gleneagles Hospital. It took us 2 weeks to get one press release
You
approved.
worked on the in. You worked on
We were the PR agency for Gleneagles
Okay.
Hospital. So we got launch. So, 2 weeks. Crazy, man. Did that. Okay, so today, as a tech entrepreneur, I want to change this. I want to make everything faster. I want to simplify. So that's why I removed us. And right now, we offer offline services also. So the same thing applies when you come to me today and say, I want to appear tomorrow in Siakap Keli, World of Buzz, and got some content type of story that I want to go okay. So we can do that. We can keep that part, we can. But I cannot scale if I keep doing that. So that is my first answer. That why you can't put a human element. I can't scale. If every content is going to be checked, and so the second part is maintaining the integrity to entrepreneurs. You have to have ethics, ultimately. And I think if it goes out and you screw up, it's not going to look good.
So I'm thinking like whatever that you guys do, in the end, if I say you get caught, right, customers will not want to come back to you, right? So you need to make sure that like for those in the platform business that incorporates AI, generating contents, that the contents help its clients to maintain brand integrity. So like how for you guys, to take any actions on your platform to ensure that they are responsible for the contents that they are generating is reflecting a true image. It says what it says is what it really is, not something that is changed to reflect a different story.
Just to share, somehow people think Supernewsroom is a media agency, so they think it is Manminder news site. So we get a lot of press releases, random press releases via email. So a lot of it often comes critical emails, blaming, racially charged or abuse, but not Malaysian. So it's like an overseas company trying to make noise about, let's say, against human trafficking. They would actually send to us. So the assumption is I am, let's say, memang a news site. So I will check if that's a good story. I'll check the source, check the story, call the person, verify. And obviously, when you read, you already know if this is a fake content. You will double check, triple check the source. So I think the possibility of that going through Supernewsroom platform memang ada. So it comes back to the publisher, whether they fact check or not. But it has happened. One publisher did just like the past one story.
Oh, really?
No. It was an NGO blaming malpractices in where they ran chickens. So I think they were talking about big brands in Malaysia, inhumane practices for chickens. They cracked them. So I think 4 brands were mentioned. So the PR of that brand saw the story like, oh my God, how can this media agency write against our brand?
Yeah.
So they contacted directly the news site.
Because in your business, essentially the output is reflected in the news media,
Yes.
whatever it is there.
Yes.
Okay.
But they did help to also follow the editor to remove the story immediately before we in any way get indicated. We should have done because publisher decided to publish.
Okay. Alright, so we're going to open up to the floor and see whether anyone has any questions for MK. Anything to do with PR, brand integrity. Okay, got a question? Okay.
Hi, I just want to ask, are there any current rules or regulations in Malaysia and overseas as well that we need to be clear that this is AI published content or image, for example?
No, so far no. That's why the start of the conversation was such a grey line, and I think it will take a lot of effort globally. We have in Malaysia, I think our YB Gobind Sindhu is now trying to create an AI framework for ASEAN, and he's very gung-ho about that. But ASEAN is a very small market. If you want to create here, it's not, and the AI that we use, whether it's Claude or GPT, our platform is a GPT platform, so it uses the backend is that I'm using from US. How does it apply? So I think it has to be a more global effort, and I think it will take time for us to reach that stage one day. I would say the future was yesterday.
So it's going to be last week.
Correct. We are already very. This is too fast.
Okay.
Too fast.
My question is really about news or fake news or fake website. Like when I look at, Facebook or something, there's always, not just Yahoo, Google, there are always this fake news site, claim Siti Nurhaliza, use what is Jack Ma use this secret. And this thing keep pop up, and sometimes they keep pop up. Sometimes I just purposely click, just want to read it. They put FMT logo there,
True.
And I believe the government can block it because we can block like porno sites and kind of thing. We can also block all this scam. what you see in that legal framework, how we block? Because I mean, like for our brand, I mean, we don't want this fake news to that we're not talking about fake news created by fake people inside Malaysia. We're talking about this is like big, scammers kind of thing. So, what you see about it?
I totally agree with you, and I think recently, just last week, Tun Mahathir, his photo appeared with three very rich other people talking about something, and he made a statement on his Facebook. This is not me, blah blah blah. Okay, putting that aside. Before, as you were building Supernewsroom, you were very interested to build an anti-fake news platform. Very, very interested, because we felt that there are so many and there's a huge need for it. We couldn't, because it's huge, the amount of data that the platform has to check and verify against. So how can the platform think that this is fake? They're gonna confirm with another source, which is impossible.
Yeah.
So it had to depend on the blockchain technology, which
It's a lot of money.
it's a lot of money, a lot of effort.
Can do, but a lot of money.
I know. So big companies, Bloomberg, Forbes, Stripe, Reuters, they are trying to build, but they are unable to do so because ultimately the cross-checking of data, which is now at billions, zillions that's flowing through, then how the cross-checking? So they need to leverage. So AI is there, but AI is not enough. AI is not smart enough to detect that.
Maybe at a later stage.
Later lah. Bila dah pandai.
Yeah, needs more data.
No, I mean it's simple. You know, like if you create a reporting, for example, like I can report. Like, okay, this is pornographic site. Like Facebook, they can report. So, like for example, our Minister of Communication, I can just report this website is a fake website. I report. They just need to verify that website and then block it straight away.
Correct. So you are blocking sites.
Yeah.
Here you are checking content, images, visuals. So the amount of data that has to be processed is huge.
No, I mean like based on reporting lah. I mean like you then when I as a user I see okay this is not Siti Nurhaliza, this is not Tuan Mahathir, I report or Mahathir is a report.
But I compare your fake report with a fake report.
Yeah.
Benda tu legit tapi sampai
Malaysia, I think we have done a platform like this. Sebenarnya.my, tapi it didn't work out. They were also trying to do this by crowdsourcing, but one either people are too lazy, not many people have that time to go into sebenarnya and then go and check and verify other. So it just died off. But yeah, from our point of view, as I said, a lot of media owners. Again, Reuters, one of the biggest, they have to make sure their news is not fake. So it's very difficult for them to build. So leveraging on blockchain technology and real people, part of this checking, that ultimately can work.
Okay, I can give one last question. It's a very light and easy question. The one that really like suggested. But talk about
very 9.9.
brand integrity. So when you get profile pictures of business leaders, for example, how far do you check the photoshopping level of the face and how young they look, how smooth the skin, for brand integrity lah.
Okay, so again, it comes back to not us. We do not check, the publisher checks, and just to share with you, news sites these days demand for good photos. So they want Photoshop images, they want exciting images.
AI generated. I mean, real photos, but you can't pay AI to enhance or create a professional PR ready photo.
My profile picture is AI generated.
There you go.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point that we also have to now put a caveat in the platform to click, saying, so my takeaway is that when I go back now, I'll implement a button, click here, if the the uploaded image is AI generated. So the media is aware that this is an AI generated image. Thank you.
I mean, in the end, just to wrap up the session, I mean, if I was a speaker, I would end with say the truth and nothing but the truth, right? But in these days,
Not news.
I know that's not news, but that's why I need people like MK to help me here. So you're the speaker as well. So if you were to put it in one line, right, in respect of the topic, in terms of maintaining brand integrity with AI-generated content, what would that one line or you can advise in one line to the people in the room be?
Well, you are in charge now. It's back to you. It's if your brand integrity is your integrity at the end of the day. You are the brand owner, so it's back to you. So have that integrity in place, and we hope for the best in this ever-changing world. And please, it was very, very happy to see something like this today. I learned so much, and I hope everybody will start leveraging on AI tools. Supernewsroom.
Every time we're still learning, every time we get together, we're still learning something new.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more question. So you guys are going to be going through 3 months of handholding with us on AI adoption. What's your wish list for them?
Wow, I believe right now we have so many tools that will help us increase our efficiency as entrepreneurs. And as I said, the future is yesterday. So as entrepreneurs, we have to be fast to adapt now. We cannot just take it easy.
That's competition. Not just adapt fast.
Yes.
Adapt fast. And I was just thinking, we should explore Supernewsroom.AI. Yeah, we should. Kita nak short TV, that's why I need to say for her. Explore Supernewsroom.AI for your PR, and if possible,
launching version 3.0 next week.
So once she shares the information, we will share with you guys as well. Okay? And with that, I'd like to thank MK again. I have to say, I'm really excited that we finally got to have our podcast, our mini podcast. I hope we will have more, because I think we are not done. We have so many more things to talk about, right? But let's close the session with a wish for everybody here to take it from today. You are responsible for your own contents, and when you generate contents on AI, because at the end of the day, you're the one who prompted, and you're the one who's going to evaluate whether the content is right to be used or not. So make sure use it responsibly. Okay? Thank you so much, Angie.
Thank you.
We'll see you very soon.